Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes.
Everybody have a voting minute?
Not yet.
Good. Next item will be next item will be the moment of silence by Mr. Jerry Denton.
As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in other silent activity. Thank you.
Next item will be the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mr. Jerry Denton.
Okay, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item will be the approval of the board meeting minutes from the December 6th meeting and December 14th meeting. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
and Mr. Allen.
Yes. Thank you. Next item. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and it's good to see you all back. It's my great pleasure as the board president of Broken Arrow Public Schools to formally announce our new superintendent of schools, Mr. Chuck Perry.
I just want to say thank you to the board. Very humbled, very excited to think that kind of in the position that Dr. Oliver once held is just very overwhelming. I think back, my parents graduated here in 1950, Bob and Virginia Perry, and to think that what it would mean to them to be here tonight. That's how much this means to me. Grew up just hearing stories about Broken Arrow and Coach Ragsdale to pep assemblies on the third floor of the 3-story over at the old high school. That was once the Haskell Ag part. I had a brother, Bobby, that graduated here in 70, and sister in 75, and my wife and I actually met in Sequoia Middle School and had a locker pretty close to one another, and then ended up dating in high school and married today, and we both graduated from here and have that legacy. Can I say a few words? I guess
You can say whatever you
a
wish.
few things.
Just don't cuss at us.
When I think about this, I think back to teachers that impacted my life. I saw her several years ago at a retired educators breakfast, and lady by the name Miss Jane Palmer. She was my senior high school English teacher, and she taught me how to write, and to write well. I feel like helped me make it through TU, and I was proud to tell her several years ago, both of my daughters, I taught them the same thought process of getting your thoughts from that brain down to your hand to on paper that I'm very grateful for. I think of a algebra teacher at South Intermediate at the time, Miss Knapp. I haven't seen her since high school, but really one that invested and cared about students. Sequoia Middle School had a that time called Common Skills teacher. Her name was Miss Briscoe. Again, haven't seen her since Sequoia, but she the impact she had on me, actually had her 2 years in a row in 7th and 8th grade, and just a kind, caring lady that really invested in her students. Oak Crest Elementary had a PE teacher there, Miss Bailey. Had her starting out in the 2nd or 3rd grade, and just what she did, again, came to class every day prepared. And when I became a teacher, I was able to do my intern teaching under her, and she actually was one of the finalists for Oklahoma State Teacher of the Year. That's how, as a PE teacher, she was that well invested in her career and what she did. And then a 3rd grade teacher, that's another one that I wish my mom was here today to hear. Her name was Mrs. Burks, and the coolest story about her is right before Christmas break, I got the opportunity to open up a letter and a card, and I did not know who it was, and I started reading it, and it was a card from Mrs. Burks, who I haven't seen since the 3rd grade, congratulating me for this position. And to think about that, and I think that's the type of things that make Broken Arrow a home, is the relationships and how people treat each other. Couple goals that stand out to me. I want to make this a great working environment for our employees. I want to create a great culture. They enjoy coming to work every day. I want our community and patrons to be proud of Broken Arrow. They're proud to send their students here. As a fellow alumni, I feel responsible to all of our alumni out there that we continue what Broken Arrow stands for and is known for, and I feel that weight on my shoulders from them. And then most importantly, obviously, the kids that are here today, I want them to have the best education opportunities in the state of Oklahoma, if not the region, with just the teachers and people that we have here. I just think it's a privilege. We've got great people across the district, support personnel, leadership team I get to work with, and just principals that care about kids, teachers that are on the front lines every day and some difficult things. It just makes me very humble to serve, and as a board, thank you. I appreciate the support and trust in me. It's invaluable. And with that, I'd kind of like to segue into our Board Appreciation Month that you see out here. And these people do so much behind the scenes that nobody really ever gets to see. This is not their job. They've got full-time jobs and the investment they've made in the district. They don't have hidden agendas. They're not trying to force their free, the authority they have as a board member. They really take pride in making this a great work environment for our employees and provide a great education for our students. So I'd like for us to take a moment and give these great board members, Ms. Roulette's out tonight, but her included, and give this group a hand too. If I could I introduce my wife real quick?
Real quick, we're
Okay,
gonna save the best for last.
Okay.
You guys have anything you'd like to say?
I would just like to personally say thanks to the district and the kids, the teachers, the administrators. I mean, out of all the tough times that we may go through and stuff, this right here just, moments like this just warms your heart, and it puts all the bad stuff kind of behind the scenes. And I'm honored to be part of our new journey that we're setting out to take. And I tell you what, I am grateful that we have your leadership here, because it touches my heart to hear the legacy and the alumni and stuff that's out here. I know you have an incredible support network underneath you, but I just say thank you for everyone that's out here on our new journey. But you are the right person right here, right now, for this district, for us to go into the next future. I know we're going to continue to do wonderful things with your leadership. So
Appreciate that.
thank you.
Appreciate that.
And thanks to the family for the times to come. I know there's a commitment on all sides.
Thank you.
Mr. Perry, I just want to thank you. I want to thank everyone out here, because I saw today you guys posted something. I guess 2011 was when I got elected, and it's been a privilege to serve this wonderful district. And like Mr. Perry, myself, I know 3 of us up here, and Brandy's gone, but we're graduates as well, and there's no better feeling to be able to give back to your community selflessly. Again, there's no agendas except to make us the very, very best in all aspects of education in a district. I, for one, would like us to be the very best at everything we do: academics, athletics, band, choir, taking pictures, whatever it may be, writing a postcard, be the very best at whatever we can do. And I feel responsible as a board member to supply that support so we can do that. And it's just a wonderful feeling to be able to serve. And I appreciate each of you, because these last 2 years have been difficult. They've been difficult on you especially every day, and us as a board, but know that we are here for you and we are here with you. And we want to forge forward with Mr. Perry's leadership, and we're going to come out better than we've ever been on the other side. So I just want to thank you all as well, because without everyone pulling the rope in the same direction, we're not going to get anywhere. So, but thank each of you. And Mr. Perry, if you have your special guest you'd like to introduce this evening.
Yes, I do. I actually have a couple back there. I want to introduce my wife, again, all the way back 7th grade, Squalia Middle School. Monica Perry. Monica, if you'd like to stand up and wave. And then my oldest daughter, Abrielle's 25 years old now. And she was able to provide us with a beautiful, just sweetest little granddaughter, Opal. So thank her. And then I've got a youngest daughter who is a senior at OSU, Anna, who is doing her student teaching this semester and would like to be a 2nd grade teacher is her goal. So my beautiful family, and they put up with a lot with the commitment, but they're just so supportive, and want to recognize them too.
Welcome. Congratulations.
I'd just like to say, Chuck, if I knew we were headed in this direction, I would seriously consider running. This is going to be you got a great leadership team. This is outstanding. You're going to be outstanding too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's get moving in your first meeting, Mr. Perry.
Yes.
All right. Next item will be Mr. Chitty. We took up most of your time, so you're going to probably have to hustle. There's kickoff at 7, so use your time wisely.
All right. Well, Mr. Perry, President Allen, and the board, I really appreciate you guys giving me a time today to give you an update on the Broken Arrow Virtual Academy. It's been a whirlwind since July. Didn't quite know what we were stepping into and what that looks like, but I'd have to say, for where we are right now, in just a short a couple months, I'm very proud to be where we are now. So I'm going to kind of walk you through that journey just really quick. Like I said, I can talk fast, and so you just try to keep up, all right? So, so this is addressing that every student experiences a learning environment that is relationship-driven, engaging, and rigorous with a career and life readiness focus. So this was on that, the board goals. So this is where that's going to, do I hit the next arrow there? So these numbers came from last week. So the total is 551 students enrolled. That's about back up to about 575. We actually have more secondary students this semester than last semester by quite a few. We've lost some elementary students due to, I think most of the feedback is elementary students being able to be vaccinated, parents wanting those students to be back in those social environments, but we're still holding strong at almost about 80, elementary students, 70 that are listed there. We're about back up to that number there. So we're about, like I said, about 575, expect to be right within that range of, I think our highest number from the beginning was a little over 600. So we're still holding steady and doing strong there. So I just want to walk you through something I'm really proud of that we started at the beginning of our journey here. There was really no onboarding or welcoming of our patrons, whether it be our students or families, about what to expect, what to do, or what your step in, what your onboarding. And so we've basically built out an entire onboarding process through Canvas. So to a parent or student, it looks like a website. It takes them through about 8 steps where they go through and learn about their expectations, what they're signing up for, what that's going to be like. It gives them an overview of the programs that they're going to be enrolled in. It talks about the commitment that they're making as a family, because when you sign a kid up for virtual school, you're making a commitment as a family to be an advocate for their learning. And so this really walks through that. It has the parent and the student actually sign a contract of that relationship at home to make sure they have those supports. It gives guidance on how to make a schedule, how to create a conducive learning environment at home to have the most success. And once they go through this, they fill it out, they sign those contracts. That's when it comes to us and says, okay, now you understand your side of the deal. Now we go ahead and process that enrollment. So it really gives, and it has a little area that they can meet the entire staff. That's at our building as well. So that has been very successful. We've put through over 600 students through that and families through that process and have really good feedback on that onboarding process. All right, you have a couple documents that were passed out to you. The first 3, when I walked into this, we really had no process or procedures for holding students accountable and just doing some of the work that we do. And so the first 3 that are stapled together, it starts with that family learning coach. Those are really focused on success of this and around student-centered decisions. Okay, so that first one is really about what the family's committing to having a student in their house taking virtual school. The second one is request to move to virtual. So this really talks about our process internally on how we get students that are wanting and families that are wanting in mid-year to be able to move to virtual and how that process goes. And then transition to success. We have found, guys, research throughout the entire country shows that families are hiding some students in virtual school. They put them in there and they don't have to do anything. They don't have to fight them to get ready in the morning. They don't, and that accountability is really broken. So really trying to establish an accountability to the family so that students don't fall through the cracks and lose years of education. And so this is a process where we're we're going data driven, and we're seeing where students are falling behind. And it's not just about finding the kid and pushing them back. It's finding the students that are struggling, making sure that we have proper interventions, and then if those interventions aren't successful, then we suggest and we move forward with moving them back to in-person where they have some more of those supports. The next one is the next 2 stapled, or there's 3 documents for you. The next slide is focused on our student and family accountability. And so this is just starting this semester. What we found is we really needed to have a way to take attendance properly, to know that students are actually submitting and proceeding through to be successful for completing courses by the end of the term. And so one of the pieces is attendance. We're at this point making sure that if they're not on progress in any course, they have to submit something by 2 o'clock every single day. So we're having to do some work there to dive into that data, to run those things and to send out those calls and to do that work, but it's the right work to make sure that our students are being successful and driving into their education. The failing course requirement, again, guys, we're opening the doors. We have kids up at that facility. You'll see a little bit more about that later. But we're opening the doors 4 days a week, okay? And if a student is failing a class, they have to come into our session at least 2 hours each week for every failing class until they're not failing anymore, okay? That's just an expectation at this point. All right, the next slide. So those are just some of those procedures and things that we kind of put in place over the last couple of months to really drive in that accountability to make sure our students are successful in our program. Some of the things that we're really excited about is connecting with students. So one of the things we're doing is we are hosting tutoring. We've had some really cool experiences. We actually have a volunteer coming in doing some tutoring with in math as well as our teachers. This guy is just a statistics guy that's really interested in becoming a teacher, and so he's actually coming in just pro bono, kind of helping us out. We're having teachers do that as well during these open times. We've also connected with a church that is supplying drinks. We got a refrigerator and we got snacks because people were dropping their kids off for 4 hours and they were hungry and they and so it kind of gave them something to be excited about to come in there. And if they're over there for more than 2 hours, we take them on walks outside the building. We have a Frisbee that we go out and throw. So we're really making that connection to really make that interesting for kids to come up, learn something. We also change the process a little bit. When they come in, they have to fill out a card that basically is what their goals are for the day. So they're not just coming in and not knowing what to do. It drives the teachers with what they're wanting to work with and making sure that connection for learning is happening. All right, and we have 15 bean bags being delivered tomorrow for some functional seating as well. So just really excited about that, making that a comfortable place to learn. Small group and RTI, one of the things that we're excited about, thank you to technology, is we got a new BenQ board. And so now that is mobile, so that gets moved in and out. For small groups, we're doing a lot with STAR testing, trying to find those interventions for those students, getting them to come up there. Once we identify them, we're pulling them into small groups, and that gives us an ability to really work with those students to grow the skills that they're deficit in. Social emotional connections. This was huge, right? This was a thing that we really wanted to challenge the teachers to come up with really exciting things to where students can get connected with their peers and their teachers on a social level and not just academic. And so I'll just tell you, the easiest place to do this is elementary because the kids and the parents are just super excited about that. And it starts to be harder and harder as time goes on. So elementary is just knocking it out of the park. Every month, they're actually going to different area parks here in Broken Arrow. The police have been at one, the fire department have been at one just to kind of meet the kids and hang out. They actually got a tour of the fire station. We've been to the zoo. We've been to the Oilers game. We're doing astronomy club where they're coming in and doing things. And so I'm telling you, that elementary group, they're staying engaged once or twice a week pretty much. We have multiple parents that are really driving that as well and organizing things. We actually have our site fund set up. So we have, when that money's coming in, we make, if the zoo's charging us this much, and so we're actually able to build some student activity funds as well. In the middle school, we're actually having them come in and do what we kind of started with was like a Pinot's palette, not the Pinot, right? So it was they did a Christmas theme guided painting, and those kids were super excited. We had about 20 middle school kids out of about 80 that showed up for that. And at the high school level, we're just really doing career explorations with them, seeing if we can meet up with them at flight safety and take a tour and guided by the high school virtual teachers or those types of things to really engage them, still to be able to meet their peers, but it's more driven towards their future in academics. These are just some pictures. We're really excited about our student-led announcements. We have a family that does announcements, calls out students for just excellent work, student of the month, and they just kind of cover different things that are going on in the district and our, because our students in virtual are BA kids, right? So everything that's going on around here and everything that's going on in BA, it's an amazing family that really it just shows the heart of the program. Some pictures of the park hop and some of those things I talked about there. We can go next. Thank you so much. Ice skating, holiday parties, in the front lobby is just so much more welcoming place if you haven't been over there lately. There's seating there for families when they come in, activities, there's books for students to read, a whiteboard for students to write on. It's just a different environment over there. And one thing that we're really excited about, guys, when we started, it's hard, right, to know your enrollments. We started with started with brand new curriculum, right? It's data, right? You have to get students into there. You have to get them enrolled, all that is a huge amount of work. And then you're diving into something you don't really know. You don't know how rigorous it is. That's one of the things that we stepped up and we bought new program to make sure it's more rigorous, right? But then we have to balance that out and see how it aligns with our curriculum and everything. It's been a struggle. Our teachers have high enrollments. 300 to 400 students are enrollments, right? And enrollment is different than just a student. If I have 20 students, but I have them for 6 classes each, right? That's 120 enrollments, right? And so the teachers have a ton of enrollments that pull very hard. And so working with leadership, just to kind of alleviate and plug the holes, we've approved for some highly qualified graders at the high school and some of the areas that are diving in and helping us keep up, because one of my big things is quality feedback, right? We need quality instruction and we need quality feedback, because students will work and engage when they know it's being read and they're getting the feedback they deserve to move forward, right? So that's been a huge blessing to reduce some enrollments. We added an FTE towards a couple months in at the beginning of the year. We've actually really excited about this. We have a substitute now for virtual teachers, and it's one person it's the volunteer, right? So he's come in, and so he's kind of worked his way into there. So now he's being our substitute teacher, which everybody knows him in our departments, and it's really easy to slide him in. And now a virtual teacher can actually take a day and not come back with 500 pages of assignments to grade. And so that's been a huge blessing and for morale over there as well. So just wanted to really praise that. And we're moving along. There's still a lot to work on, but guys, I trust, through your guys' support and the support that you pass on to our leadership here, we're getting places here.
Awesome.
It's pretty impressive. You have basically 600 students. I mean, that's an individual high school in itself at some towns that you guys have put this together and made these accommodations and offerings to. So that's exciting, very exciting.
Love the updates. It's exciting to see, I know from a board's perspective, we've consistently said, we want this to be the best in the state. And so, seeing this type of feedback is absolutely giving us the insight into where we're going and what we're doing. And so I know this is the tip of the iceberg, and so there's a whole lot more that's coming. And again, appreciate what you're doing over there. And so looking forward to seeing some further updates. This is cool.
Awesome. Well, I share that sentiment too. I feel like what we've done is a lot with what we started with, and working with leadership on what we really need to take it to your vision, I think is really going to open the door for immense progress.
And I think your commitment to holding students accountable, they're not off on an island, just virtual only. You have them coming in if they're failing a class, and it's a true blended model, and research has shown that's the most effective way for a virtual program to succeed for students.
Yep.
So I appreciate that.
Any other questions, comments? Go ahead.
I got something. This is not just for those that don't want to participate in brick and mortar schools. They're open to students that might be in fine arts or athletics, or might have a financial burden at home where they need to work during the day. So this is just open to everybody.
And that's why we don't see a huge fluctuation, guys. I mean, COVID, that's all. I haven't heard COVID in the last, I know it's high right now, but I haven't heard that in the last 2 months. It was kind of hot at the beginning of the year, but really that's what it is. If you look at our blended enrollments for high school, is really high, right? People are starting to find that this is appropriate for them. And so I really feel like, I feel like that 500 to 600 range without a catalyst of growth, is which I'm hoping to get to, would probably sustain just currently with our numbers.
And that's basically 5 times what we had previous in any virtual, right? I think we had 100-something kids is what the district had.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
That is cool.
So probably 10 times next year, right? You got to set the expectation, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. Put it up real high there.
Great job. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next item, comments from the public. We have none. Next item, number 8, will be the consent items 9 through 42.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes. Okay, next item. Mr. Perry, looks like you're going to have the next ones.
Yes, I am seeking your approval today for the creation of a new role in our cabinet, which is titled Deputy Superintendent, which I plan to fill here shortly if this is approved.
Questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Mr. Perry, number 44.
Again, asking your approval for changes made to this administrative pay scale to be in line with the new position of Deputy Superintendent, along with our Chief Financial Officer, that pay is more in line with districts across the area with the Chief Financial Officer role.
Questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Mr. Perry.
Start filling these positions in the role of Deputy Superintendent. I ask your approval today to promote Carla Dias from Associate Superintendent to Deputy Superintendent. Ms. Dias really heads the instructional side of the house. She's been a teacher or an educator for 25 years in public schools. She has taught 5 years in Colorado. She came over in 95 as a teacher in Wolf Creek Elementary and has served as a assistant principal at Wolf Creek and Leisure Park, served as a principal at Arrow Springs, Park Lane, and Highland Park, and then started at the ESC as the Director of Elementary Education, then rose to the Assistant Superintendent position. For everybody that works with Ms. Dias, she's one you never hear a bad word said about her. She is greatly respected by our sites and principals, and she's developed that. She's been a rock. I've worked closely with her the past 8 years, and she's a great listener and really holds the heart of a teacher and has a perspective to look at it from the school side and any decisions that we make. And then again, is a relationship builder. So I would like to recommend Carla Dias as the Deputy Superintendent for Broken Arrow Public Schools.
Questions?
Before I make my motion, I would like to say, I mean, I think this is an incredible opportunity. Ms. Dias, you've done, you have such great accolades, I mean, you've done such a wonderful thing with our district, and, you know, seeing us be able to create an opportunity that just further allows us to utilize your leadership, I mean, your relationships with the teachers. Again, I mean, words do not do justice to having you on our staff and district, and so I tell you, I am honored to be able to make the motion to approve this. So, thank you.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Ms. Dias, congratulations.
And it's just a great place to serve. I'm very humbled and honored, and I have an amazing team, and I'm so looking forward to working with Mr. Perry and the cabinet. So I do have a very supportive husband. I did not invite him. He is a national championship. I want you to think he doesn't support me. He does. So but thank you all for this honor. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm super excited about our future. So thank you.
Thank you for everything you do, Carla. I don't know if I've never not seen a smile on your face, and even during the, you got a heck of a poker face there. So, but we appreciate everything you do, and I know it's been difficult, but thank you. Next item, number 46, Mr. Perry.
Seeking your approval today to fill the role of Associate Superintendent in the district would be Larry Shackelford. Mr. Shackelford heads up right now leading the maintenance, plant ops, facilities, and construction side of the house, which is a great responsibility. He's been an educator for over 42 years and has served many roles. He was a teacher and head basketball, baseball coach here in Broken Arrow in 1997 when he came. He went on to Porter Public Schools and served as high school principal and athletic director there. Served as assistant superintendent for 3 years, and then went on to Jace Public Schools, and most recently as a superintendent. He brings a wealth of experience. Just having sat in the seat of the superintendent role, I think there's a great bit of just experience there that you can't get in any other area. So I will lean on him on that. He's got a great view from afar of the impact that decisions make on a district. He's got a lot of wisdom, and again, he's a relationship person. And just like Miss Dias, which the next couple you'll see, they're former classroom teachers, and they have the heart of a classroom teacher too in mind. So with that, I'd like to recommend Mr. Shackelford as our associate superintendent in the district.
Again, before, I feel like I'm talking a lot tonight, but it's okay. I mean, seriously, it's just some wonderful leaders that I get the privilege of being able to work with and see what they bring to the table for the district. And I know just in our short window of me getting to know you and just see some of the things that you've brought to the table, and plus being able to just jump in with both feet. I mean, you've never paused. You've stepped in and just took off running. And I tell you what, you've brought some superior just decision making, driving excellence and stuff into our district. And honestly, I think if I was in Chuck's shoes, having you sitting there next to me, I mean, it would just warm my heart and make me feel absolutely confident in where we're going and what we're doing. So thank you for all that you do. But I definitely, again, honored to be able to make the motion to approve.
Okay, got a
I'll
motion?
second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Larry, I want to thank you for everything that you've done since you've arrived in Broken Arrow. I think those that have worked with you and around you have seen your leadership ability, but most importantly, your compassion for the district and always doing what's best and doing what's right. It's not always what's easy, but it's what's best and what's right. You've always done that. You're a man of high integrity. We really appreciate you coming back to Broken Arrow and serving and doing everything you can to help make us better. We should greatly appreciate that.
I think he has a guest here tonight, and he would like to.
All right.
I'd also echo what Ms. Dye said and thank the board. It's just a great place to work, surrounded by great people. Gosh, I just excited about coming to work every day. Just Mr. Perry's going to make a great superintendent. Anyway, my wife is here. She wanted to stay home and watch the football game. I told her I'd stop at Wendy's or something on the way.
Oh, big spender.
My wife of 45 years, I know we don't look that old. We got married, I think we were like 15 or something, kind of like Chuck, but great supporter. I like Chuck, kind of out-kick my coverage a little bit. But appreciate all the things that Jill has sacrificed through my years of coaching and being involved at school, raising 3 sons and hauling them everywhere. So just very humbled and grateful for this opportunity, and can't wait to see what the future holds for Broken Arrow Schools. Thank you.
Miss Jill, do you mind standing up, please?
I'd just like to add to that too. I've known Larry from a parental standpoint, and my oldest son played for him, baseball. My youngest son ran up a tab at the concession stand with Jill. I finally had to cut that off because they were so friendly and nice to my family, they just kept giving to him. And he's going to be a great asset for Chuck. Chuck and I've talked about that, and I think this is going to be fantastic. And again, I wished I was kind of sticking around for this. So, anyway,
Go ahead, I'm sorry, Steve.
go ahead.
No, I apologize, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I was just gonna tell Miss Jill, thank you for letting Larry come home. We appreciate that.
She's a fellow sixth grade teacher in Coweta and taught for a long time here at Oliver Middle School, so educator also.
Awesome. Welcome home. Next item, number 47, Mr. Perry.
I would like to recommend the approval tonight of Rusty Stecker as our Chief Human Resources Officer. Ms. Kearns, who served in that role, has moved to a different role in the district by choice in over enrollment. And so Mr. Stecker is stepping up from his executive director position in HR. I've had the privilege of knowing Mr. Stecker since 1994. We both taught and coached together at Haskell Middle School when he started his career. He served as a boys varsity head basketball coach in the district, very successful and long tenure there in that role. He's been our assistant and associate athletic director over the years, senior executive director of student services. Rusty is just the type of person, one of those weird people that like to look at spreadsheets and attention to detail. And just very, if I have him look at something, I feel at ease because he cares about making sure that penny balances to the dollar every time. He's steady. He's a good decision maker, really thinks things through, considers a lot of people's input before making a decision. And I think he'll do a great job with HR, with over 2,100, 2,300, I don't know exact number, but of employees in the district. It's a big job, and he'll do a great job.
Questions?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Mr. Stecker, congratulations. I've enjoyed working with you over the last 11 years, and very well deserved, and wish you the very, very best. So do you have any guests?
I think
Yes, first of all, thank you as well, President Allen, board. I'm really excited about this opportunity. Echo what Coach Shackford said over here, I still call him Coach. In 1997, we had the pleasure to work together, and so I go way back with him, but he's a great man, and looking forward to working under Mr. Perry's leadership and the other cabinet members. It's a great team. I do want to thank the HR team. We got a couple here tonight, Ms. Drake and Mr. Gilnine. I say all the time, we have a wonderful HR staff that does amazing work. A lot of work that people don't even realize that goes on a daily basis that's done behind the scenes. And those are just two of our 15 employees down in that office that just are outstanding employees. I'm so fortunate to lead that group. I do have my wife, and I want to stand who's back here.
Well, Mr. Steckler, I appreciate it. I'm congratulations. First off, thank you for stepping up and being able to accept the role. I know that's a big shoes to fill and stuff, but again, I think it's just remarkable being able to see the talent that Mr. Perry is surrounding himself with. And I know over the years you've done an incredible job with us over a variety of different roles and have successfully moved through those and just have contributed greatly. So again, thank you and look forward to great success.
See you on the golf course.
Says the guy that's leaving. Next item, 48, Mr. Perry.
like to recommend the approval tonight to kind of backfill the position that I held before moving. Steve Dunn, I would like to recommend him as the Chief Student Engagement and Public Relations Officer for the district. Mr. Dunn has been a teacher and coach here in the district. Again, says a lot about this team here. He was served as a varsity football assistant for several years. He also has been an assistant principal at Oliver Middle School, moved up to the assistant director of athletics, left BA for a short stint to work at another district at a cabinet level position in operation, and then returned to BA in 2018. Had to work him hard to get him back, but he came back, and then in the past 4 years he has served as the athletic director for the district. Mr. Dunn is one of the most creative people I have worked around. He has great vision, likes to think outside the box, and he's got a real heart for student engagement and takes great pride in what he does for kids and the opportunities that he gives them. And I think he's going to do a great job, and want to recommend him.
Questions? Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Coach Dunn, where you at? Congratulations.
I want to echo those that mentioned the same stuff, just for the support and confidence you had me to serve the district in this role. It's humbling. I'm very grateful for it. Working closely with Mr. Perry in this position, it's always been about our kids, and it's always going to be about our kids, and providing them just the absolute best opportunities in the country. And there's no reason not to. We've got the best kids, the best families, the best district, the best logo, best colors. Best facilities. There's not a reason not to, and they're just incredible people in place leading our kids, and so just to serve them and unleash them to take it to a new level is it's pretty humbling and exciting, so I appreciate it. I want to introduce the best part of me by far, my wife, Michelle. She's a pharmacist here in the community, so she's been pretty busy the last couple of years, so appreciate her. My oldest, Tatum Joe.
Yeah.
Luke is 5, and Ava is 2. Really appreciate it.
Coach Dunn, congratulations to you and your family, and look forward to great things. Thank you.
Could I announce the rest of my cabinet, or do we have to?
You can announce whoever you want, Mr. Perry.
I just like to, I'd be remiss without representing the rest of the cabinet. If they'll stand, Natalie Enoff as our CFO, Ashley Bowser, Ashley Bowser as our Chief Technology Officer, and
Stay standing, all of you all.
Got to bask in glory for at least a moment. Natalie, I know it's tough, but
and Rosalind Van Jackson as our Chief Support Services Officer. We've got a great team, and then we've got a ton of executive directors and directors in the room tonight. If you all could just stand, that you all need to be recognized because you're part of the team that we. Awesome. So.
We appreciate each and every one of you. I know with the board role, we work probably more closely with cabinet during our subcommittees and stuff, but we do get to work with all of you, and we appreciate all the hard work. We know it's not easy. Last years have been very difficult, but because of you, we're where we're at. I felt we've led the way. We're not going to make everybody happy, but I know one thing. Everyone in this room is going to always do what's best for kids and always do what's best for our teachers and our staff. So I feel very confident in that, and I know our board does as well. So just thank you all, and we look forward to going to work and do what we can to support you. So thank you.
I would like to move. Oh, go.
Next item. You need to slow down. Hold on. It's almost kickoff, I know. Next item, 49. It says Mr. Dunn, but
Yes.
but you're going to take this?
Well, no, I would like Mr. Dunn to step up and talk about the roles. Yeah.
man, look at that agility. See, he's already up and
Well, Mr. Perry, President Allen, members of the board, it's my honor to bring these next two items. When Mr. Perry approached me about this opportunity, I would be lying if I said that I didn't think about just how awesome my job is because of the two people I get to introduce tonight. It's been just the highlight of my career, just having coffee every morning with them and bouncing ideas off of each other and just doing life together. They're incredible people. They're great leaders of young people and coaches, but they're just great people. And I know that our coaches, our students have been blessed by them the past couple of years. So first, I would like to request the discussion of possible board action to modify the employment contract and change of title for Mr. Darren Melton to the Executive Director of Athletics. As you know, Coach Melton came here 2 years ago as our Associate Director of Athletics. He's been associated as a coach and athletic administrator with 24 state championships, a fierce competitor, an organizational leader, very structured in his approach to every single day. But again, it's only exceeded by just who he is as a man. And so it's really an honor to be able to recommend him for this position, Mr. Melton, as the Executive Director of Athletics.
Discussion, questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Mr. Dunn, is he here?
He is, yes, sir.
Hello, Coach Melton.
You want to introduce your special lady friend?
And very quickly, I'm very honored and humbled, just like most everyone that's spoken out has said. What I would like to just add, and I've just been blown away by how great of people we have in this district. Just the good people, the people that want to help, the people that want to help kids, the people that want to help you. And so, Mr. Perry, thank you so much for your confidence in me. President Allen, board, thank you so much for your consideration, and I'm very humbled to be here. I love athletics. It's been a major part of my life. And more than that, I just love young people. And so, without further ado, my wife Terry is here with me tonight, and thank you.
Congratulations, Coach Melton.
His wife's a former coach and is currently a school counselor, so it's a family business with them as well.
Awesome.
And then lastly, I'd like to request the discussion of possible board action to modify the employment contract and change of title for our Assistant Athletic Director, Mrs. Amanda Snyder, to the Associate Director of Athletics. She also came here 2 years ago from the University of Tulsa, where she was at for the 12 years prior. Professional, just an incredible work ethic, positive attitude. These are the attributes that sum up Amanda, highly successful coach and leader of coaches, but again, only exceeded by just who she is as a person. Our athletes are just so blessed to be able to learn from her and be around her. And it's my privilege to make the recommendation for Mrs. Snyder to serve as the Associate Director of Athletics.
Questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Coach Dunn?
Yes, sir. So Mrs. Snyder is here. Her husband, Zach, and Young and Jackson are not able to make it tonight.
For those of you who know me, I'm a little bit of a crier, so I'm gonna try to hold on. I want to thank the board, President Allen, board, thank you all so much for believing in me. Chuck Perry, Mr. Perry, Coach Perry. I am so grateful that you took a chance on me. Thank you. And for giving me a pathway to become an AD. It was my dream my whole life. And just incredibly honored to be a part of this district. Coach Dunn, you are who I aspire to be. You've provided me every day a chance to grow, to become better. You always believed in me,
Congratulations. Thank you, Coach Conley. All right, next item, Ms. Van Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. Perry, President Allen, members of the board. I am before you this evening to request your approval for the first of what will be a routine in nature item. I'm requesting that you approve the open transfer capacity calculations by grade and site level. This is in compliance with and pursuant to our board policy 4400, which has been approved previously, and also with Senate Bill 783, which reflects student transfers that was approved in spring of last year. So open any questions you may have. We have about 45 openings available district-wide.
Discussions, questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you. Next item, number 52.
Thank you. Again, I am before you in regards to board policy 4400, which speaks to student transfers. Ms. Kearns was before you first in October, and at that time she did communicate that there would be subsequent requests for approval. It's a very fluid policy. Come before you tonight for your approval of student policy 4400.
This has been reviewed by legal, correct?
Yes, it has been reviewed by legal, and the last rendition was sent out December 17th, and this is the actual rendition.
All right. Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Dolahan, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good evening, President Allen, members of the board, Mr. Perry. I'm here to give the treasurer's report, activity fund reports are first this time for as of December 31st. In the activity funds receipts for December, or for the year to December 31st total $2,239,000, and disbursements total $1,633,000, leaving an available balance in the activity funds of $5,116.
Thank you. Next item.
My treasurer's report at the end of December, the cash balance report shows assets in the district of $53,176,000. Investments included in this figure total $32,180,000. Our collateral report shows a total of $34,509,000 pledged to the district. Our deposits that require collateral are $26,110,000, leaving an available balance of collateral to the district of $8,399,000.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, number 55, Ms. Enoff.
Good evening, President Allen, Superintendent Perry, members of the board. I'd be happy to go over the monthly financials as of the end of December, but I'd like to start first by giving the board an update on our midterm allocation, if that's okay. Our midterm allocation was released at the end of last week, and as of today, Broken Arrow's allocation is $53.7 million. This is up about $1.8 million from where we began the year in July, but still below our high allocation 2 years ago, $57 million by about $3.3 million.
Ms. Enoff, what's the difference? What do you think, what has caused that difference in the $4 million, basically?
One of the contributing factors is the district's growth and valuation and the way the formula works through chargeables. And if the board would like me to go into more detail on that, I'd be happy to. But just to kind of give you a picture of where we are as a district with our valuation, we have been on the path of growth now consistently at 3 to 6, sometimes upwards of 7% growth between our footprint in Wagner and Tulsa County. And so with that higher valuation, that means more property taxes into the district. That ad valorem column, the second to the left on the chart, And so that is deducted through our state aid formula as a way to equalize funding across the state. So we don't have districts that continue to get ahead and reap the benefits of both state funding and property tax funding.
So if we grow, so if we grow at 5%, we actually lose money from state aid because we're getting ad valorem tax locally.
Correct. But what I would also like to expound upon is what we're experiencing as a district with companies in our district's footprint protesting property taxes, and in doing so, tying up a considerable amount of the district's cash flow. And so what's happening in that scenario is a company decides to file protest taxes with their county of jurisdiction. And while that lawsuit works its way through the court system and through all of the legal steps, that money in question is being held in an escrow account. And so the district is not realizing those dollars to the budget until those cases are finalized. And so on the flip side, those chargeables that I mentioned through the formula, we're still being charged, if you will, at that higher value, but not getting the cash flow to support our penalty through state aid. The silver lining to that, though, is that the district bonding capacity and valuation is still growing at the percentage that we need it to keep up with our bonding capacity and our growth, which is extremely important, as you know. But from a cash flow perspective and a budgetary perspective, it's causing some issues for us. I know this is being looked at as we head into the legislative session. Our assessor in Wagner County, Ms. Sandy Hodges, has been a great partner in communicating these issues, and I know is well aware of the predicament this is putting the school district in. And I know legislatively it is being looked at as well, because I believe over $80 million is being tied up with these legal issues going through the court system. And so the board is well aware that the way our general fund works is it's a single year use fund, and by us not realizing these dollars this year, these students are missing out on the benefit of our growth, our valuation, and it's, again, causing quite an issue with trying to keep a balanced budget.
Have within your CFO community, have you all had discussions of McGirt and the potential impact on our local districts?
We have. That is another component to the situation going on in Wagner County presently. And in speaking with Assessor Hodges several times over the fall, that was kind of their first goal, was to get that part of the case settled so we could continue moving on, because that was causing quite a holdup in the proceedings.
Do you know what that potentially could be as far as a dollar-wise, just off the cuff?
I don't really know.
Okay. I talked to a legislator when we were at Jinx that day, and they feel that that's a potential problem or an issue on the horizon that could be a huge impact to public education tax.
Absolutely.
Taxes.
So when you look at state aid, you can see that we're still tracking a little bit behind where we were at this point last year. The State Department has made it very clear that with the scrutiny happening right now with EPIC and the penalties that have been assessed with their administrative cost issues and the state audit being released, that they are taking very high due diligence in making sure those calculations are 100% accurate before releasing another round of allocations to districts. In doing so, making sure that EPIC does not realize the penalties back through the formula, which has been an issue in the past. And so those penalties, I think, were between $9 and $11 million, and so we expect to see, again, another round of allocations coming forth later this winter and into the spring. So this is not the final by any means, but we will be keeping a very close eye on it as more is told to us.
Okay.
May I answer any questions about general fund? Building fund, we're in the same predicament with our ad valorem dollars. We did receive Wagner County today, and Tulsa County should be received by the end of the week. So when you look at next month's reports, those graphs should look a little bit better. And I know it will give me great comfort in seeing, again, that cash flow come in. But we are concerned, again, about the legal system bottlenecking these dollars that are being held in escrow. Child nutrition, you can really see the shift from local to federal dollars. They they started the pandemic in a very uncertain place in terms of their financial picture, but with the complete changeover to everyone having free and reduced access, the local sources have dropped off and been replaced by federal sources, and that will continue through the end of the year. General fund expenditures, some one-time expenses in there, as well as child nutrition. You can see with the price of food and supplies going up, the effect that it's having on their budget. Watching that very closely with Ms. Goodacre, and I know she's being very proactive and taking advantage of the commodities and ordering ahead of time and as much as we can do to stay ahead of that. I would like to just end on the fact that as we are trying to close out the spending of our one-time ARP stimulus, ESSER relief dollars, we collected a little over $2 million in these one-time funds last year to close out the year, about $9 million this year to take up the bulk of the third round of spending. And we are certainly grateful for the receipt of these funds, but again, it is of high importance that the legislature hears that we need to continue funding our state aid formula properly. The teacher and support pay raises will not be sustainable if these funds go away. Can I answer any other questions?
All right, thank you. Next item, Ms. Medavalis. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. My first item are the change orders for December 2nd through January 5th, and we had a decrease of $384,366.49.
Any discussion or questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Next item, the encumbrance orders for December 2nd through January 6th. Those reflect $1,216,862.55.
Okay. She's gonna do it manually. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item, 58, Mr. Leach.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I bring you an offer to purchase district-owned real estate. It's going to be a vacant lot that is just south of 81st and Elm. 803 South Elm would be the proper address. The parcel has been for sale for quite some time. From best I can tell, at least 2011. Our asking price is $585,000, and the proposed purchaser is offering $459,994. They intend to build a dental clinic on its place. The only thing that the buyer is asking for is that we have the property rezoned. It's currently zoned residential, and they'd like it rezoned commercial on our dime.
Mr. Leach, the property that we sold to the car wash was around 400 and what thousand, do you remember?
It was just over 400,000.
And it's barely like a couple tenths of an acre less than what this property
Yeah, it's
is.
just a little bit smaller than this one.
And we're very close to the same amount of offering price, I believe, on both of them, right?
A little bit more.
Okay.
And I
Are
know
we
this,
able to change the zoning?
Yeah, is the zoning gonna be a problem?
Yeah, I have a question into the city of Broken Arrow that I am awaiting an answer, but I don't foresee any problems with changing the zoning.
So this vote will be contingent upon the zoning, I'm assuming, correct?
Correct.
because it was commercial at one time before, I think.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It
but-
is currently zoned R2.
Yeah. But I mean, I know it's been on the books for a long time trying to find a buyer for that, so
Yes, sir.
glad to hear this, so.
You see any reasons why we should not support this?
I see no reason whatsoever.
Okay.
All right. Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Both buttons showed up.
Good. Okay, next item's new business. We have none. Next item will be to move to executive session to discuss the evaluation of Superintendent Chuck Perry.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors? Yes. Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes.